What's up guys, my name is Jack, you're watching JBTCG, and today we're going to be ranking the investability of Scarlet and Violet sets from worst to best, and I'm including special sets, so 151, Paldean Fates, and Shrouded Fable are included on this list. Now if you've watched my video ranking the Sword and Shield sets and their investability, this is the exact same structure. If you haven't, I'll explain it real quick. So I took the sum of the top 7 hits in each set, and then I divided that number by the booster box price. And the prices are all from TCG Player, the pricing of the cards is all near mint. And the reason I'm using TCG Player for pricing is because it has tracking for near mint cards from every single set as well as the booster boxes, so it's really just easy for consistency. And the reason I'm using 7 cards in my ranking is these are the cards that you're looking for in a set. After the top 7 hits in a set, a lot of these Scarlet and Violet sets, as well as Sword and Shield, they kind of like peter out and they don't have much demand for these cards. So I'm really only looking at the top in-demand cards from every set. And some people have mentioned that they want me to incorporate pull rates into this, but I don't think I can without skewing things. And the main reason for this is because low pull rates equal more expensive cards, and I'm already factoring in the expensivity of the cards. So if I factored in pull rates again, then the results of what I do here would be skewed. And the last thing before we get into this list, this is extremely rudimentary. This is not some crazy calculation. I have a video with my estimation for booster box prices, which has a much more complicated equation. This is very simple. It's based entirely on the premise that the value of a booster box comes from the top hits inside, which we know is generally true, but we can't actually draw any definitive conclusions from this, and obviously no one can reliably predict the future, so this is mainly just for fun. Alright, with that all the way and me covering my ass in terms of liability, let's start our list. In dead last, we have Obsidian Flames. Really no surprises here. Darkness Ablaze was dead last for the Sword and Shield, and the Charizard set from Scarlet and Violet is dead last here. So right now on TCG Player, the Obsidian Flames booster box is $110, and the sum of the top 7 hits is $112. If you got all of the top 7 hits, you would barely make your money back from opening a booster box. That gives us a value ratio of 1.02, by the way, which is pretty low. Value ratios above 2, I would say, are decent, and value ratios above 3 are insane. That's where I see that the booster box price has the most potential to improve and increase in price over time, just because it's lagging really far behind the singles prices at this current point in time. And obviously these value ratios over time decrease. If you look at XY era and you do things like this, it comes out to like 0.5 or really low numbers. I think Ancient Origins was like 0.55 when I did this calculation. So it's a great set, really expensive chase cards, but over time that booster box price shoots up and the singles kind of stay where they are. So this value ratio number that we look at decreases. And if you're already starting at a really high value ratio, say like 4, then that set has the most potential to increase in the future. Anyways, we'll get back to it. So the top hit in the set is the Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare. This one is $43. And the second top hit is the Charizard EX Gold card, which I actually have right here. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'll tell you guys how you can win it. I'm going to do a giveaway on every single video until I hit 1,000 subscribers, and then I'll let you guys know who the winners are. But stick around to the end and I'll tell you how to enter. Anyways, the number 3 hit in the set is the Pidgeot EX, $13. You got a Ninetales at 11, which is my favorite card from this set. Personally, I have this in my 151 binder just because I think it looks cool. Like instead of the regular Ninetales EX, I just slotted that in there. But then you got the regular Pidgeot EX and the Cleffa and Pidgey illustration rares. Nothing really of note. The depth is not great. Everything's pretty cheap just across the board in this set. I would say this is not a great investment. I'm not personally investing much into it. The ETBs, on the other hand, I am a big fan of just because of the Charmander promo card and then the Charmander on the ETB being so nice to display. But I've already talked about that in another video. On to 6th place. This, no surprises here, is Scarlet and Violet base. The booster box price is $95. The sum of the top 7 hits is $115. And the value ratio here is 1.21. So slightly above Obsidian Flames, but it's still very low. Again, something over 3 would be good. 1.2 is not even close. The top hit in this set is a Gardevoir EX, which I think is super cool. I really like, honestly, the illustrations and the special illustrations of the Miraidon and Koraidon from this set. they're just not worth that much money. Second place, we have the Miriam. This is $21 at the moment. And then we got the Maridon at 15 and the Ralts illustration rare at 15, which is pretty expensive, honestly. I was not expecting it to be quite that expensive. Nothing really to note here. I'm also not really investing in Scarlet and Violet base. As you'll see later, we have much better options and much better sets. In fifth place, we have Paradox Rift. So this set is kind of like the black sheep, you can call it, of the Scarlet and Violet era. Really forgotten, honestly. The booster box price is at $103. The sum of the top 7 hits is $191, and that gives us a value ratio of 1.85. So a big step up from Scarlet and Violet base, but it's not close to that 3 number that we're looking for. The top hit right now is the Groudon illustration rare at $47. It was up, I think it was above $50, maybe it's close to like $60 at some point, but it has since dropped a little bit. The Roaring Moon has dropped a lot over time. It's down at $47 as well. Next we have the Altaria EX, which I think is a really nice card, followed by the Iron Valiant at $20. Another super good card, and then the Iron Hands, which is super playable, and I think that's why it has the $19 price tag, because honestly it's not the most aesthetically pleasing card, and those are usually the ones that get those massive price tags. This set also has the Steelix illustration rare at $17, which is one of my favorite illustration rares. I think it's so cool, so creative, using him kind of as like a, what's it? I don't even know what the thing is called, whatever, who cares? But anyways, Paradox Rift, honestly, I think it's a good set. I bought some to invest in. Generally, I buy the boxes right around like $85, which if you calculate that out, gives us a value ratio of 2.25, so a little better, but still, it's not the greatest set. It's definitely overshadowed by a lot of other Scarlet and Violet sets, as well as Sword and Shield ones. And with a lot of hype coming around the corner with Surging Sparks, and then Team Go Rocket, Terrestrial Festival, and then that Black and White set, I wouldn't be surprised if Paradox Rift really just gets swept under the rug and forgotten about. On to number 4, and this is Paldea Evolved. I know this is surprising to hear that it's this low, considering it's considered like the top 2 set from Scarlet and Violet at the moment, right next to Twilight Masquerade. But Paldea Evolved booster box right now is at $135, so much more expensive than the other 3 that we've seen so far. The sum of the top 7 hits are $283. and this gives us a value ratio of 2.09. Pretty solid. We've finally broken the 2.0 barrier, which I kind of think separates like not very good with decent. So that puts Paldea Evolved at decent, I suppose. The top hit obviously is the Magikarp at $106. This one has since dropped. It was up around 120 something. This one I think will hold value for a long time. Such a cool card, super unique artwork, and it's done by the same person that illustrated the Giratina V alt art. I think it's Kanda, I think is the illustrator, don't quote me on that. But then about half the price we have the Iono, which is $58. It's crazy how much this one has dropped. This used to be so expensive and so hyped back like a year ago, but it has dropped a lot. The next at number 3 is the Raichu, the Sleepy Raichu. I think it's a great card, I really love it. And then we got, at 4, we got the Tyranitar. It's a cool card, but not my favorite. I think there's definitely other cooler options for Tyranitar, and this one I think is all right. Then you got the Chi-Yu and Chen Pao. I think both of these cards are super aesthetically pleasing and awesome cards, honestly. This is a great set overall, great depth. The seventh place card, which is the Tinkaton EX, has a price tag of $16, so pretty solid depth. Considering that if you get the 7th best card in the set, it's $16. That's pretty decent. Obviously, sets like Evolving Skies just absolutely shatter this, but for Scarlet and Violet, it's not bad. Also, I'm only talking about main sets right now. The specialty sets will be separate at the end. I'll go over them after we get through our number 1 for main sets, because they're kind of separate, and there's no booster boxes for special sets, obviously. But anyways, cracking our top 3, we have Temporal Forces, which is honestly one of my favorite sets in a long time. I think this set is so underrated, and I'm glad that this has put it in the top 3. The sum of the top 7 hits is $297. The booster box price is $104, and that gives us a value ratio of 2.86. Way higher than Paldea Evolved. Pretty shocking, I know. Especially when you look at the top chase card in each set. Paldea Evolved's Magikarp is like $30 more expensive than the Raging Bolt from Temporal Forces. That only has a price tag of $67 at the moment. but the depth in temporal forces cannot be understated. Number 2, we have the Iron Crown at 55. Then at number 3, we have the Walking Wake at 48, the Gouging Fire at 37, then Morty's Conviction at 33, which I think is a great card. Then we have the Iron Leaves, which is my favorite card from this set, at $32. And then number 7 is Bianca's Devotion at $25. This is a creepy card. I'm gonna be honest, I do not like this at all. Like, why is this a card of like a girl sleeping and people are spending $25 on it? I don't know, that's not for me. But Temporal Forces is a great set with great artwork, and I think the only thing that's holding it back is it doesn't have that nostalgia factor. None of these cards are nostalgic to anyone. The top chase cards from the set are all newer Pokemon. What I do like about that is that the kids that are growing up playing the Scarlet and Violet games and playing with these Pokemon are gonna look back to this era, and these cards are gonna be the nicest cards with those Pokemon. I don't think we're gonna get an Iron Crown card that's nicer than the one that we have. Like, if you substituted out the Iron Crown with an Umbreon, this card would be like $200, $300, $400. So in my opinion, Temporal Forces is a sleeper set right now, and I'm looking to pick some up whenever I can find it. All right, at number 2, and this one comes with an asterisk, we have Stellar Crown. So why am I putting an asterisk here? Well, it's a new set, so pricing can vary wildly. A lot of these singles have dropped like 20% in the last week. And obviously none of them are at stable bottoms or anything like that. So in 6 months, this set could be way down on this list, but we're going off the data that we have now, so right now it's at number 2. The booster box price on TCG Player is $109. The sum of the top 7 hits at the moment is $333, and that gives us a value ratio of 3.05. And finally, we have a set that's broken the 3 barrier, which honestly, I was super surprised that it was Stellar Crown. There's been like mixed reactions to it. Like, obviously the Bulbasaur, the Squirtle cards, super well loved, but overall people are like, yeah, it's okay. I'm waiting for Surging Sparks or all the other sets on the horizon. I might skip this one, it's okay. But the data doesn't lie. These cards are pretty expensive. At number 1, obviously, we have the Terapagos EX. This is $119, and this one has been pretty strong, honestly. All the other cards pretty much across the board have dropped pretty drastically, but this one has stayed really strong. And this is mainly because it's super playable in the TCG and people want it in their decks. Now at number 2, this is a card that is the complete opposite. It has dropped, I think, 70% at this point. It's at $45 right now, and it's the Lacey. This was up above $100 like 3 weeks ago. So if you bought it back then, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You never buy cards in pre-release, but it's dropped, shocker. A lot of hype for this card in Stellar Miracle, but it doesn't really translate from Japanese to English very well, so it's not very expensive here. And just below that at $42, we have the Squirtle card, which is one of my favorite cards ever across the board. The Bulbasaur as well, which is also at $32. And then we got the Hydrapple at $34. Cool card, unique style of artwork, just not the most well-loved Pokemon, so it doesn't have a crazy price tag. At $31, we have the Galvantula, and at $30, we have the Dachshund, which pretty good depth in this set. The cheapest card out of these 7 is $30, and that's honestly pretty expensive. So overall, Stellar Crown is better than I thought, and I might have to invest in some boxes. And number 1, no surprises here. We have Twilight Masquerade. The booster box price right now is $142. The sum of the top 7 hits is $604, and that gives us a value ratio of 4.25. This value ratio is higher than all of the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet sets. The highest from Sword and Shield was 3.9, and this eclipses it by a good margin. Now, obviously, the number 1 hit from this set is the Greninja EX at $284. Then at $84, we have the Carmine, and then $74 the Perrin. Eevee at $45, which is one of the most expensive illustration rares we've seen ever. We have the Blood Moon Ursaluna at $40, the Kieran at $39, and then Lana's Aid at $37. Huge depth in this set. Insane chase card. This set is going to do numbers in the future. And honestly, I have to apologize. I made a video back before this set released because I didn't really like it very much. I didn't like any of the Ogerpon SIRs, and shocker, none of them were in the top 7. But I had on my thumbnail Twilight Trash Masquerade, and I kind of have to eat my words now because it's absolutely destroying all the other Scarlet and Violet era sets. And even at a booster box price of $142, it still looks like it's a great pickup. Now let's move on to our special sets. So we only have 3, 151, Paldean Fates, and Shrouded Fable. And these ones, it's going to be a little more wonky. I just figured I'd do it for them as well, just for the sake of doing all the Scarlet and Violet sets in one video. But I made a booster box estimate by getting the booster bundle price and multiplying it by 6, because obviously 6 packs multiplied by 6, 36 packs in a booster box. So for 151, that booster box estimate price is $240, which is crazy expensive. The sum of the top 7 hits is only $384, and that gives us a value ratio of 1.6. And this is where I think it's wonky, and I don't think it really applies to special sets as well, just because 151 we obviously know is a great set. Either way, we'll run through the top 7. You got the Charizard EX at $128, the Blastoise at $54, and the Venusaur at $49. Then we have the Zapdos EX, which is my favorite card from this set, at $43. The Charmander's at $39. This thing has been shooting up. It used to be in like mid-20s, but $39? Are you serious? That's insane. But after that, we have the Charizard EX Full Art at $38, which is also crazy expensive. And then at $33, we have the Squirtle. So this set actually has insane depth, because after this, there's another like 10 cards that are over $10. So I think me picking 7 cards to do the value ratio with just doesn't work for this set because of the depth. And that's a limitation to this. So another reason not to take this as the gospel in any way. Not that any of you were. But anyways, in second, we have Paldean Fates. So this means that Shrouded Fable is first, obviously. But let's go into Paldean Fates first. This has a value ratio of 2.07. The booster box estimate price would be $162 for 36 packs. And then the sum of the top 7 hits is $336. Largely, this is carried by the Charizard EX at $108 and the Mew EX at $94. After that, it kind of drops. You got the Gardevoir EX at $43, so 3 special illustration rares in this set. And then after this, they're all baby shinies pretty much. You got the Pikachu at $32, the Charmander at $22, and then the Iono SIR from this at $21. And then you have the Charmeleon baby shiny at $16. So the depth in this set is way lower, but because packs of this are way cheaper than 151, it has a higher value ratio at the moment. And then funnily enough, number 1 for our special sets is Shrouded Fable. The estimated booster box price is $120, which is way below retail for a special set. The sum of the top 7 hits is $278, and then that gives us a value ratio of 2.31. And what's crazy is the most expensive card in the set isn't a special illustration rare, it's the Gold Earthen Vessel. This thing is worth $68. That's crazy. This is the only card from this set that's been going up, I think, and it's gone up a considerable amount, but everything else has pretty much been dropping. The Pheasantipity is at $56 now. It was up near like 90 like 4 weeks ago. The Cassiopeia is at 52, and this thing was going like 160 in pre-release, so absolutely tanking. Darkness Energy Gold card is at $27, which is pretty expensive for a gold card, honestly. Like the Gold Psychic Energy from 151 isn't even close to this expensive. And then the Percheron EX is at 26, Okidogi at 25, and then the Persian Illustration Rare, which I think is really nice, is at $24. So overall, what have we learned? Well, this equation isn't perfect, but I think it's shown off that Temporal Forces and Stellar Crown are low-key sleeper sets, and that at the moment, I think they're good buys. So not giving you guys any advice, but I personally will be buying some booster boxes of both of these sets, as well as Twilight Masquerade, because I think all of them have a lot of potential. And if you stayed with me through the end of this video, and you want to know how to win this Charizard EX, well, comment down below what is your favorite gold card, and I'll go through these comments when I hit 1,000 subs. I'll do a random number generator or a random comment generator and pick one of them to win it. The only caveat is you have to be subscribed. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay safe out there.